And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's new series, a new Korean series called Bulgasal. Bulgasal? I don't even know how to pronounce it correctly. I'll put up the title here. There are 10 episodes coming. Netflix are releasing one episode on each day of the weekend until we reach the 10th episode. So we get one on Saturday, one on Sunday. They're all over an hour long episodes, and I kind of understand why, because each episode is almost like a feature, an individual story, but complements the rest of the arc. And we'll get into the synopsis in a bit. This is a very interesting one to talk about. I'm excited. Another Korean series with Netflix. Very excited to talk about this one. So let me know your thoughts down below. Have you watched this first episode? The second episode drops today, so it's a good time to kind of talk about this first one and kind of get you into it. But for now, let's jump in. The story of a woman who repeats death and reincarnation as a person for 600 years and remembers her past lives, and a man who cannot die because he has been an immortal for 600 years. First of all, I should say, because the first episode's an hour and 17 minutes long, it is a slow burn for the first half an hour to 40 minutes of the episode. You have to give this episode, you have to give the story time to build in those characters. And so if you're umming and sighing as you're starting this, and so I'm not quite sure about how they edit it because it is quite different. There's a lot of kind of flashes and very slow cinematography, grand scope, wide scenes in the snow, great costume designs, great sets, but it's all kind of slow and cinematic in nature. If you've seen some of these Korean series before, you kind of know what you're in for. However, once we get past the introduction and the building of our protagonists, well, mainly our one or mainly our two protagonists, then things start to get really interesting. And I should say, this isn't a happy series at all. It isn't gonna leave you feeling with happy, joy feelings by the time you end this first episode. It is quite sad, it's dramatic, it's poignant to the story. We follow basically this child in the first half an hour as he grows up. He's basically cursed. Well, that's what the villagers believe. That's what he's told all his life. And so everything that kind of follows him is cursed by these monsters. We live in a time where monsters are on Earth and they take human form. If you can get them to reveal their demon form, it's basically because you've injured them and they're getting angry, and then they're going to fight you and probably dismember you and kill you. There's various different forms, and I think the character creations for the monster designs are very interesting. I like that they've kind of done their own thing with it. You have the human monster kind of hybrid form, and then you have the monster design, which is also kind of human but not quite. The movements of some of the monsters are very broken and monstrous or possession sort of movements. You get that. And then the gore, for the most part, is watchable even if you don't like gore too much, because there's a lot of cutting away from, oh, this person's about to die. You see a bit of blood, they cut away from it, and then they come back later to reveal that, oh, this body is totally messed up. So you don't actually get to see how they do that sometimes. I think that's probably part and parcel with what's going to happen in this series. But when they do the action, it is beautifully filmed, very cinematic pieces. There's this one that kind of stood out to me. It's all at night. It's lit by firelight, and they're fighting a monster. And there's multiple people trying to take down this monster, and you have your slow-mo shots, you have the mist and firelight going at the same time, you have water shots, you know, just kind of what you'd expect, but it's filmed wonderfully. And then you get the acting from the guy who's played this kid that's grown up, who's this tormented soul, and you get that, you see that he's kind of worried about everybody that's been affected by this curse, I guess, around him. He wants to end it, but he doesn't know how. It's this age-old time story, but we're just getting the first helping in the first episode, and so we get to see his torment over a number of years as he experiences what it means to be cursed, or what people shun him because he is cursed, and if he has a family, what that means, and those that actually take time to care about him, what that means for them. So in amongst the monster hunting, which is really great, it's fun, it's entertaining, you get this kind of really dark story, family orientated, which it often centers on, which is great. I don't think this would have worked as well as it did if it doesn't center on individual character growth, personal family stories, and then in amongst that we have the monster building. the monster story. It also reveals, once you get to the end episode, there's like a big reveal, which makes me hopeful for the rest of the series. There must be many more story reveals, because I doubt that they reveal like their big plot moment at the end of episode 1. There's just one big story kind of reveal at the end that made me going, oh damn, I'm in. You've sold me. That is how you do a pilot episode. It's great. It's a feature-length pilot episode, basically. When you get to the end, I doubt many people that love this type of genre won't be go, okay, you got me for the 10. I'm going to be watching these two over the weekends until it finishes. 10 episodes, over hour-long episodes. You're probably ending up with 13, 14 hours worth of content in this one season. It's a very interesting story because of the lore behind the monsters and what people believe, and, you know, how you take certain groups of people who are easily, I guess, affected by their beliefs and controlled almost by that. And then you take other groups of people who don't quite believe in the mysticism side of things. And you have that kind of clash of culture in amongst this culture that we are being shown. It's a very interesting conundrum, and I quite like the showcase of it. But then you have the wonderful costume designs, which is excellent. The cinematography is excellent. The acting, which I think is great for our protagonist. Not so much on some of the side characters, but there isn't much to do with side characters. For the most part, the acting is what you expect it to be, but I think the shining light here is the very interesting story with the lore that comes around it. There are kind of shining moments where you're like, ah yes, I love that character development, I love that costume design, I love that set, but you're gonna be invested and asking yourself questions in the story, which I have thoroughly enjoyed. So let me know your thoughts down below. Where are you hoping this is going to go? Are you invested as much as I am within this first episode? Very excited to watch the next episode today, probably out in a bit. Thanks so much for watching this. I can't give a rating yet until I've seen all 10 episodes, but so far it's quite high up there. Very much enjoying it. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.